was 9 we just went through. None of them had anything to do with testing. This one sort of has something to do with testing. This is being recorded, so I've got to be careful with exactly how I tell this story. There are certain applications I've worked on. All right, well, so all of us have had the following experience, I'm sure. You test the hell out of something, you release it to the users, and within minutes, seconds, hours at least, really important bugs come back from the field that you didn't find. And you think, why didn't I find this? Right, and you've got a process for that. Why didn't I find this? What could we have done to find this? What kind of test cases would we need? Let's write those test cases, put them back in, right? And every one that comes back, you always miss bugs. Always. Why? Because the users are better testers than you all are. Every bug they find. When you find a bug, you have to argue about it, don't you? Oh, I found a bug. What's the priority? 0, right? The highest priority ever. The dev gets it and looks at it and says, oh, it's priority 3. Or, oh, working as designed. Or, piss off, tester. You smell like industrial strength sludge. You have to argue the importance of the bug, and you always lose. Don't fight that battle. A user reports a bug, and it is by definition important because a user found it. Someone who's paying for us, or someone we care about, or someone who's reading our ads, right? It's automatically important because they found it and took the time to report it. And then you look in our bug databases at Google, the user-reported issues, you never see, oh, working as designed. Fix it. A user found it, it pissed them off, right? They get fixed. So wouldn't it be smarter to better enable them to find and report bugs as opposed to hiring more testers to fail to find and report bugs? We have users who are gagging to be trusted testers. They sign up for this. They want the latest, greatest stuff. It's worth it to them, right? They know there's going to be bugs in it, and it's worth it to them to get an early view of our software, particularly our APIs and developers. They are really anxious to get to our APIs as quickly as they can so that they can rev the next version of their tools on our and apps on our APIs. Why wouldn't you want to take advantage of that? Now, I'm not saying, oh, just put crap out and let your users find all your bugs for you. That's an idiotic business model. But if you've got users that are willing, or you've got this 60,000 plus crowd out there, your users, by definition, have all the form factors that are important to you. Because if they don't have them, they're not important to you. So empower them to do it. Empower them to test for you. And I'm not saying completely wholesale fire all your testers and replace them. I'm telling you, turn your testers into people who enable other people to test. There's a lot of testing already going on. Your users are testing your software every single day. Figure out how to take advantage of it. That's what I'm asking you to do. So that was 10 things. Testing wasn't in there. Nowhere. Maybe a little bit at the end. Software is getting higher quality without us being in the loop. The people with the word quality in their title, right, quality assurance, haven't been the ones that have made these big leaps. 10 big leaps, we weren't responsible for any of them. So, what did that do? That convinced me, yep, I'm going into development. Screw this testing thing. I'm tired of pointing out the obvious to people. We can point out the obvious. Oh, there's a bug in your software. Yeah, I know there's a bug in my software. You're not being helpful here. If all you do is find bugs, find bugs, find bugs, find bugs, you're not being helpful. You're pointing out the obvious. We know there are bugs. This is software. It's exquisitely complex. There will always be bugs in all software. There has never been a perfect program. Stop pointing out the obvious. So, how do you detect people who are pointing out the obvious? I started doing this at Google when I was still shopping around for jobs. And I started asking people, what do you do at Google? I'm a tester. Warning sign, warning sign. I do not want testers to I do not want to hire people who identify with their role. I want to hire people who identify with their product. Right? If you ask, okay, let's see, I'm in England. If you ask Wayne Rooney, what do you do? He doesn't say, oh, I play forward. Right? He doesn't identify with his role. He says, I play for Manchester United. He identifies with his team, his product. What do I want to hear? I want to hear, I work on Chrome. I work on Google+. I want people to identify with their product. I want testers to be as bought into their product as developers are. You don't ask, when you ask a developer what they do, they mention their product first thing. I've done this hundreds and hundreds of times at Google. You ask testers, and more than half of them say, oh, I'm a tester. They're proud of it. They've been taught to be proud of it. You shouldn't be proud of it. You should be proud of your product. No one falls in love with test cases. Users don't say, wow, I bet this app has great test cases. I have this paper I'm writing called the 10-minute test plan. I put 4 people in a room. No, actually it was 6. They work for me, so they have to do what I say. So it said, you guys go in that room, and I want you to build a test plan for, and I made it up, right? App Engine. They all know App Engine. I didn't want to give them something they'd have to study. So you all know App Engine. Sit in the room, build a test plan for App Engine. They're like, why? We don't work on App Engine. And I said, all right, you got 10 minutes. I'm going to give you 10 minutes to build a test plan for App Engine. And so they go off, and 10 minutes later, I'm banging on the door, open the door, and say, all right, you finished? No, we're not finished. It's only been 10 minutes. I said, I know, and that's how long I gave you. All right, scrap App Engine. You know, they had filled up the whiteboard with all this crap, and they had written a bunch of stuff down and typing a bunch of stuff. I said, all right, stop. Let's do Chrome Web Store. And they said, okay. And I said, you got 10 minutes. So 10 minutes later, I come back, and they knew I was going to come then, right? They knew they only had 10 minutes, so they worked faster. And they thought about it a little more carefully, and they still weren't finished after 10 minutes. So I shut that down and gave them another product, gave them another product, gave them another product. On about the 5th or 6th product, they were ready for me, right? They were timing it. They knew I was going to come in. And they had already decided, all right, we can't write a lot of stuff down. No prose. Everything's got to be bullets. And we boiled down the testing process. This is in my new book, How Google Tests Software. We've got examples of the Chrome Web Store, of Google+, and of Chrome operating system with a new test planning process that's just quicker, it's more efficient, and we don't write as much stuff down. It's easier to update. Because the value of testing isn't in all these stupid artifacts that we build. It's in the activity. It's in the thought process that go into building a test plan. It's in the thought processes that go into building a test case. We've got to stop worshiping the artifacts and start concentrating on the activity and making it better. Now, this is one that is really, I'm convinced now, that testers have actually done a lot of damage to the industry by being a crutch for developers. Developers can test. Testers love to say, oh, I'm here because my developers can't test. Developers, you know, do what they do, and if they have to test, they won't do it as well. You know, I can mow my own lawn. I am perfectly capable of mowing my own lawn. I don't because someone else will do it cheap enough that it's worth my ass sitting on the couch drinking beer and watching them. Right? That actually causes me a lot of guilt. You know, I'm sitting there drinking beer and looking outside, and there's someone else cutting my grass. I'm thinking, I could be doing that. Why am I not doing that? Because I don't want to. Why do developers not write tests? Because they don't want to. They want to write their code. They don't want to write the tests. So they don't. And the reason that they can get by with it is because they got you all doing it for them. If you're not part of the solution, there's good money to be made in being part of the problem. And that's, I think, sums up the testing industry. Now, there are 10 solutions that have increased software quality over the years. Testing isn't one of them. How do we make testing one of them? Well, I don't know. I have 3 ideas. The first idea is just screw all that testing. Figure out which of these apply to your software and make sure your company implements these really, really well. Because these things are proven to make software better, more so than testing. So bandwagon, grab a few and do it. Make all your developer, tester, production machines the same. You're going to increase quality. Take all your testers, tell them to stop testing, and figure out the continuous build problem. Right? Far more valuable than anything they could do with finding bugs and pointing out the obvious. Number 2, stop testing and start realizing that there's a lot of testing that's already going on. I'm not telling you force your users to do testing. I'm telling you your users are doing testing. Your trusted testers are doing, we have this dog fooding, we call it dog fooding in the United States. I don't know what you call it, right? It's basically internal users. We call it, eating your own dog food. Every application that we have, Google Plus, which is the product I'm working on now, we dog fooded it for months before we released it. And as I was watching the dog fooding process, I realized our testers aren't finding the bugs. Our dog fooders are finding the bugs because they're actually using the product. For every one bug that one of my testers was finding, our dog fooders were finding 10 or 20. And that one tester was having to stop developers and argue with them. My bug's important. Your bug's important because you found it and you're being arrogant. Right? All those other bugs, the dog fooders are finding 10 to 1, 20 to 1. They're outperforming you. And their bugs are automatically important. So stop finding bugs, you test person, and start figuring out how to maximize the impact of these dog fooders. Now that's value add. And what it's done at Google is it's created a bunch of new tools. Right? Our dog fooders now have one-click bug reports. That's it. That's a bug. Click. And we do video recordings, we do screenshots, we do stack traces, we do DOM dumps. Everything goes right to the developer and makes it easy. So testers built that tool. Testers built that capability. Now every bug the dog fooders find is getting fixed, it's getting triaged, it's getting attention, and our testers aren't finding the bugs anymore. I'm perfectly happy with that. Quality is getting way better, and my testers are finding fewer bugs. Totally happy with that. Now, this is the triad that I've been thinking deeply about. I'd really like to remove that person from the equation completely. Because whatever testing this person can do, I am convinced that this person and this person can do better. This person knows the code better. This person knows usage patterns better. So what do I want this person to do? Find bugs or enable these two other groups of people to be better at testing? I choose that. So here's what we're doing now. And this is the development team I have right now has 0 dedicated testers, but we're doing a lot of testing. We're treating testing as a feature. And I told my PMs and my developers, testing is a feature. Just like in Google+, Circles is a feature. Hangouts is a feature. Test is a feature. And I want the code managed in the same tree. The PMs are responsible for speccing it and designing it, and a developer is responsible for writing it, period. Now, on this side, it doesn't matter, I've said this before, it doesn't matter who does the testing. The testing is getting done. Stop accusing me on Twitter of, oh, James says Google throws their software out and lets the users test it. No, James says the users are testing anyhow. Instead of having your testers test, have your testers manage this amazing amount of testing that's happening on your behalf.